Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order, the charter review meeting. And I assume we wanna start with a roll call.
Yes. McAleese,
Here?
Aubrey,
Here, go off campus.
Edwards,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Minix,
Here.
Richmond,
Here.
Strauss.
Not here.
Thank you, Carly. So we did have minutes from the last meeting, and we just need to approve those. If you did not get a copy of them, basically the minutes said we got together, and we talked about when we could meet. So, can we approve the minutes for the last meeting?
Sure, I'll waive reading, let's do it.
We need a motion, right? Okay, we need a motion, then a second.
I move we approve the minutes of the last meeting as read.
Thank you.
Second.
Who was it?
We did it together.
Okay. Okay.
And do we need to do anything else?
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Is that what you have to say?
Yep.
All right, this is all new for
That'll
me.
work, yep.
So. Okay, so now we're gonna get right into it, and I've talked to Kristen. She is going to start reading these. So we're gonna start Article 1, Section 1. And unless anybody's got any other way that they wanna do it, I'm gonna literally start at the very beginning. Okay, we're gonna read through these, and we'll talk about each one, and if anybody's got any comments, we'll go. Obviously, we have a lot of different people in here, so I'm looking for a lot of different opinions and comments. And I don't know that we talked about this last time, Carly and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong. Everything that we do here, we put down as a recommendation. The recommendation then goes before the commissioners, okay? They have to vote on it, and then if they vote yes for it, then it goes before a vote, okay, to the general public. So this is not a one state, we're not doing anything, we're making recommendations that would be carried forward. I just want to make sure everybody was really clear on that, okay?
So that's the process, is just to read paragraph by paragraph through.
That's what I was gonna do. If everybody's read every single word and you wanna do it some other way, we can do it, but yes.
Well, I think I had a question earlier, I think Carly and I just had a brief discussion about, are there areas in the charter that's causing problems, that are causing issues, or, you know, is there some priority or something, you know, because we can go through everything, but I'm just curious from the
Well-
city standpoint,
Wondered about that too.
you know, maybe the
think
attorney's got a point of view, maybe
Yeah.
the clerk, what's causing issues, and,
Well, this has to be done every 6 years.
okay.
Okay, that's in our charter. As we go through it, you'll see that. So that has to be done. The only issue that I'm aware of, okay, in here, is that the charter says we have to have 9 people to do this, and we could not get 9 people, okay? Carly, you can tell me if you see any other issues, then everything else is, you know, if we want to help improve it, okay?
Okay.
Because I've already asked 5 or 6 questions of Carly and Kristen after I went through it, and I believe other people have asked
Sure,
questions
sure.
also, but it's just trying to improve it because it's a living document. Larry? Yeah.
So, being a basically lazy person, after I read the charter a couple of times and made some notes to myself to ask some questions today, I went to ChatGPT and Grok. I did too. And I said, yeah, and I said, could you
Okay.
please do a comparison? And first do an analysis of our charter, and then do a comparison with other similar cities in Pinellas County, similar size and so on, and it did. And came up with, it was interesting, because a lot of the questions I had in my reading of the charter were the things that it addressed without any input from me, so I thought that was good, we were kind of on the same page. And it made some really interesting suggestions. I am happy to share all this, and I think it might be just another way to go through the charter instead of reading it word by word again.
Okay.
It does some, it gives us some key provisions, it does some comparison with other small cities and so on. But I wanted to run that by you first to see, is there any legal issue? Okay, good. Okay, so that might be another way to do this in a little bit more layman's language than.
I love that.
Okay.
I guess I should quit. You're asking for no legal issue that you ran it through the
Right.
As long as we talk about it here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, okay. Because, I mean, I know there's always gonna be errors and things that you know, ChatGPT, but, so, I'm happy to share this, I don't.
Okay, so let me ask a question, because I did not do what you did. So what you did it take each one of the items and then compare it to other cities and then give you feedback on that? So like, we start at one and then we work our way through, or is this just ones that were different? I'm not sure I completely understand.
Well, I think probably the best way to answer that question is to say, it's only 4 or 5 pages long. So what it did is it looked at the overview and then did a comparison. For example, I'll just say, it starts off by saying, the city of South Pasadena, Florida, population approximately 5,300 as of recent census, operates under a home rule municipal charter originally established in 1955. So it kind of gives a little of that background, and substantially revised and adopted by referendum in 1985. It's codified as the city's code and available on the official city website and E-Code 360, so it tells you where to find it. The charter is relatively concise and reflects a traditional commission form of government, typical of mid-20th century small Florida municipalities. Then it goes into some key provisions, Article 1, Article 2, Article 1 General, Article 2 the City Commission, some description of that. The charter includes provisions for charter review and other standard topics, elections, officers, et cetera, through a full document, emphasizes commission-centric governance without explicit reference to a professional city manager, comparison and contrast with other small cities under 20,000 within 40 miles. So it used Treasure Island, Gulfport, Madeira Beach, and South Pasadena, of course. And then similarities, broad home rule powers, mirroring Florida statute 166.021, 5-member governing body with 4-year terms, mayor or equivalent with presiding ceremonial roles, commission council authority over vacancies, charter review or amendment process via referendum, and compliance with state election laws and nonpartisan elections. So it broke that down. Then it gets into a little more detail. Election method, form of government, term limits in elections, vacancy removal, other modern features, and then comparison to state Florida requirements, proposed changes to the charter, and then it gives some modern governance provisions and standard boilerplate stuff. So that was one. Then the other one, the review summary report, basically just broke it down into some recommendations. And so I think maybe because these are both short, it might be something that we could take a look at. Everybody wants to take a look at it. I'm perfectly happy to ask someone to copy it and pass it around if that's appropriate. I think what it does is it kind of boils down all of what's in the charter in just some basic facts that we can look at, and then we can maybe after we do that get into more specifics about what's happening now and any issues that you feel are important to bring up that the city is considering discussing and would like us to discuss in this charter review. And then my other question was, the previous charter review, did they have any, I guess my question is, was there anything that was really compelling? I know there was a big change in the term limits and I'm concerned because I don't understand what's happened with when the elections are scheduled, because I know the state tried to make it on presidential elections only and not have special elections or municipal elections. Is that in effect? Are we required to do that? And do we think that's something that we might want to do or not do? And is this the place to do it?
I mean, this is where we would be having those discussions, yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of getting a better idea of what the issues are that
Yeah.
we
I mean,
might
so-
be discussing.
My thought was, hopefully, if everyone has had a chance to read the charter from the last meeting to this one, was to kind of go through almost by title of each article and go, do we have questions on this one? Okay, mark it. Do we have questions on this one? And almost get an idea of, okay, these ones are fine, these ones are not. Let's start back at the beginning of the ones that are not and start there. That was my understanding of what you all had wanted to do based on your last.
That's what I thought,
was
that's where I thought we
discussion.
were headed,
That was my
yeah.
approach. I went
Yeah,
through
I think the
concerns.
issues-based approach, where,
Sure.
because I think all of us could read, and I don't want to like spend the time reading through this if there's some issues that we know of, whether it's AI, whether it's the attorney, whether it's the city clerk, whether it's commissioner, You know, if we drive our
And do we know if
review
there's a
by
charter?
the issues
Yeah,
That's what I'm
first,
wondering.
Yeah.
you know,
Are
and we can
gonna be
read it on our
providing
own and identify issues to bring to the table,
Sure.
but to me, if you take a variety of different sources for those, you get the attorney view, the city, the commissioner view, that's three sort of governance views. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, 5 of us that are kind of looking at it from the citizen view. And then if we come up and say, here's the problems that we see, then let's prioritize that list of problems and then come up with solutions. That might be another approach. I'm just,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the question I have is there a list of those situations now that you can share with us? Because we're citizens, we're not members of the government, the municipal government. So how would we, from just reading the charter, glean what are the important things to the city for us to be spending our time on?
I think if we go article by article, there's a couple that I have little stars next to. And so I think that was kind of our thought.
But what if there's something that's not in the charter that we think is important to be in the charter?
Then that
We
can
need-
be added.
we need,
with it,
yeah, we need to
then
bring that
note that.
before the commission,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
and I
have no
think that's where
problem.
this helped me. This brought out some things that
I would love to get a copy of that and read it.
more than welcome.
Yeah, because I certainly did not do chat before I came in. I didn't even think about it. That's pretty
yeah, I
interesting.
use ChatGPT all the time with the condo association, and it's been trained over the last year, so it's really good. I mean, I put all like reserve studies and financials and all, and so it's a
It's such
very
a time-
valuable
it's a time
tool and
saver.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So I appreciate that. And then the other thing too, one of the things that on some of these reviews with other stuff, you know, we could do like, I have survey monkey license, and I do like a 10-question survey, and you can email it to the city employees and say, do you have any problems? And it's just, you know, it could be a 10-question survey. Do you have any problems with the charter? What do you like about the charter? What do you not like about the charter? And then if you have any, I have no idea how many city employees we have. 47, so you take 47 email addresses, you send them a survey monkey, you get the scores back, and that would give you, what you're looking for is multiple points of view. You know, so between the attorney, the clerk, the commission, that's the government point of view. You've got 4 or 5 of us from the citizen's point of view. If you got the employee point of view, then we have the three-dimensional view.
I think this charter, I don't think it has any provisions in it for employees, except for our legal counsel and the administrator of the city. And keep in mind, what we're talking about here has to be done in public. So we haven't had any side conversations with employees, with other commissioners, or anything like that. We're not allowed to do that because of the sunshine law. I don't know if you remember that. You remember that in the last meeting.
Okay, yeah,
The president, gave us a sunshine law overview.
Okay.
So this is the first time that we're actively talking about this and have to work our way through this.
Okay.
So you could talk individually with the gentleman if you want to briefly.
Yes.
You could send a survey out so you see everybody and everybody's responses, and then that could be a good issue.
Okay. So you can send out the survey and have the individual responses, but you can talk about it at the year.
Not to the whole board.
Or staff would do that and then bring you their things.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you guys use that a lot of surveys or the city?
Not quite like that.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fine. So whatever you'd like to do, yeah, just share.
I'd like to start working our way through this because the first couple I don't have any comments on, but then after we get to the second page, then I start having comments and things which I've asked questions about, and hopefully some of you have seen the same thing. I would like to get copies of the chat and go through that, especially for our next meeting, if we can. But if I get Kristen to start, we'll just do the first one. If there's any comments, we'll work our way through. So 1.0101.
That's the creation of powers.
Okay. Anybody see anything when they were going through this?
Yep, I have it. Right, right. Yep, yep.
We can.
I have that you noted down for 1.04. Did you mean that for 1.01?
Yeah, so Glenn, she had that recorded as you highlighting that on 1.04, not on 1.01, which is the one we're asking the question about right now. The very. Okay, so that's pointless. No, that's what we want to hear. So then the question is for Kristen. Yeah.
I would recommend against putting a definition of the city as just a commission. The city is, the physical boundary of the city and the residents within it. So I don't think that's right. I wouldn't recommend that.
So are you able to hear that, Glenn? You're fine. Okay. All right. So at this table, I didn't see any comments. So 1.02.
Is that corporate limits?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I have a question about that, because the corporate limits, have we had any boundary disputes or limits disputes, like in the last 2 or 3 years regarding our boundary? Like, for example, I know that the city built a dock on land that belongs to, I thought, Bay Alley, so that would be an example of, are those limits defined, and are we clean on our limits?
So I know the situation right now. I think the boundaries of the city are defined. I don't think there's been an issue related to those. I think it was more of a, we're not even sure when that dock was built. And so it comes off of a seawall that belongs to the city, but the underwater property, the underwater property belongs to condo association.
Right.
And so that in our understanding was sort of, we're not sure how that ended up happening, and less of a boundary issue, because that property belongs to you all. That's clear. There's no ambiguity on the bounds, or how does this dock come about? We have no records of how it was, how or when, and so, I mean, I'm not contesting that, I'm just saying, I have nothing to show when or where that
So are
came
there
from.
more of those out there that we discussions? Cool, thanks.
This is, we're still on 1.02.
Correct.
My only question is, the last sentence is, says filed with the Department of State May 4th, 1993. Has there been any changes since then?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So we're still the same city we were basically at incorporation?
No, we go there, right?
No, I'm talking about the limits of the city. Are we still the same limits from?
It looks like it might have changed in 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But since then, it stayed the same. We haven't annexed any extra property.
Not to my knowledge. So are we marking that one as reviewed and nothing further?
Reviewed and completed.
All right.
No changes. Okay, about 1.03.
I had a note from Mr. Aubrey for that section.
Okay, Glenn, did you have a comment on 1.03?
No, not really.
Oh, all right.
Okay, never mind.
How about anybody at the table? Okay, not seeing anything here. All right. How about 1.04?
I have no comments on my notes.
That's good, okay. I'm just giving people time to glance through it again. And Glenn, 1.04? Okay? All right, we are flipping the page.
The suggestion from
Oh, good.
the revisions is add liberal construction clause to say, this charter shall be liberally construed in favor of the exercise of home rule powers.
I like home rule. But
I mean, that's up to you if you wanna add something like that.
what would that mean to this, this paragraph by adding something like that?
In reality, I don't know that it would do much, but.
Okay.
It would be ceremonial, I think.
Okay. Well,
It's
that's,
kind of a statement, it's a statement that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want.
I mean, the very little that I know about politics in general, home rule is like the big thing that, you know, people always want to know about. So by adding that, it doesn't give any more punch to the statement at all. It's just,
It doesn't grant us anything, it almost is just more of a statement of the city's priority and stance on the issue. And so I would suggest that there could be some of those types of things throughout, that maybe we make a note of that.
Okay.
Because likely when we get to the end of this, you all will be making, and the commission will have to make this decision as well, once they have the
Right.
recommendations of, do the recommended changes from the committee rise to the level of warranting a referendum ballot? Because anything that you all do, if the commission wants to put it through, it has to go to referendum. So you could have some things where you go, in a perfect world, the charter would have this. But that's not necessarily a big enough issue for us to warrant actually calling for a referendum ballot. Does that make sense?
Has to be more, there has to be more
Yes.
things.
I mean, you all, they can go out for the biggest or smallest changes that you want, but sometimes you go, okay, that change in and of itself does not warrant an election.
oh no, but I like it.
So you could make
yeah.
a note and say, all right, we're gonna put it on what we would like to pursue, and then
Yeah.
if you get to the end and go, no, this is a big deal, let's put all these out there, then
Yeah.
the commission can decide.
Yeah, I
When we get
think,
done, we can prioritize whether, how important or
Right,
less
exactly.
important.
Yeah.
But
So
at
we can
least
make
let's
a
capture
note
that as a
of,
noted
add language,
improvement.
yeah,
okay, I don't see Mary
there
Jo
more?
in here. Are you capturing this or?
yeah.
Okay,
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there more to this home rule than what I'm thinking it means? I mean,
What
I-
means
kind of
we-
Self-defined.
well, I'd probably let Kristen, describe it, because in my mind, it means we make the rules about our city versus Tallahassee, is what home rule is.
Yeah, it's basically that the municipality has specific powers that can be overrun by the state.
It's
Just
in,
wondered if it went to referendum, if it went to an election, you know, was it Joe Blow on the street going to understand what that means?
Don't know.
Is it gonna be a big deal to
I
him?
certainly did not before I got into this job.
yeah, possibly not. We do try to put out educational materials in these instances. We have to be very careful because the city can't expend funds toward certain election costs, even if it is something like a referendum and we're trying to make sure everybody understands what they're voting on, we have to be very careful. But we tend to put out what does this question mean? And we try to clarify, but there's a very good chance that a lot of people wouldn't know what that means.
I think the current issue is that for many, many years, home rule was pretty sacrosanct. And Florida, people were very proud that Florida had a strong home rule policy. And then recently, politically, and Tallahassee has taken more and more authority away from the cities, and a lot of preemptions and a lot of rules and laws that have been passed that are limiting the city's ability to exercise home rule. And so that's, I think the concern in municipalities is that home rule is being eaten away little by little, and what can we do to stop that?
Okay.
It sounds like a good statement. Like you said, whether
Yeah.
it's power or not, it's a statement. It's saying this is important to
I
our
like it.
community. So I like it.
And-
Okay.
And
That's
just to
good.
explain, in case anybody doesn't know what home rule is, it's that the city of South Pasadena can enact their own ordinances, laws, and things that regulate the city of South Pasadena only. And you don't have to get prior approval from the state of Florida to do that. So that's what home rule power means, in case anybody didn't know.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so
Okay.
I will make that note that would be something that we would like to pursue as a statement in support of home rule added to 1.04.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, we are, oops, 2.01. Did anybody have any comments on the number of commissioners? And one should be elected mayor.
Any thoughts from the dais?
Not on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So 2.02.
I have feedback from John Strauss, who could not be here today. One of his comments, just so you know, is maybe limit to 2 consecutive terms, as he believes that 3-year terms or 12 years might be a bit long. That was
Okay.
his comment or question.
All right.
I have some research and survey information done on other cities, so when we actually come back to discuss this topic, we could go through that. I would suggest waiting instead of getting into it now. I think we should go through and review all of the charter sections to see which ones we need to focus on, because
Okay.
that one will be one that staff would like to speak on as well,
Okay.
so.
So, and I think I made a comment on this one, and again, this would be for discussion, okay? So, this is one of the things I sent through and said, what if nobody's running? Okay, we're not gonna talk about that now, we'll come back to it. But we have, had multiple times when there's just not enough people to fill the spots, whether it be commissioner or mayor. Our mayor ran unopposed this time. So luckily, we had one that was willing to take the job again, so. Okay, and term limits. All right, so that is definitely one that we will be back to for discussion, if, to give you time to think about it.
Yep.
So 2.03, did anybody have any comments in here?
Mr. Strauss did, he suggested adding or drug abuse, because I believe it lists,
It said alcohol, but
Yeah,
I
it
think,
says habitual
I think it,
drunkenness.
rather than drug, yeah, substance abuse. I don't know if that's correct.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
sort of one of the types of changes that we
Yeah.
could list as going, we would like to make that change,
Yes,
and then if it doesn't end up going to be worth a referendum, we would make that.
right, yeah,
So,
but something like that,
I
yeah.
have a question about incompetence. What exactly does that cover, and who determines this, and what's the criteria for incompetence?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. Hopefully it never comes up, but I don't know how we handle it if it
well,
does
it
come up.
has,
What's that?
Nothing.
It has? Oh, well, okay. Before my time, so I'm sure things happen. So, again, you want to circle back around and talk about that some more when we get back to that one, so, okay.
I'd like to do that.
About how we would determine that and how that would happen. Any other comments on this one? This is a long one.
I had, one comment, one note that I had made, just, under D1, at the bottom, for any cause sufficient for removal, I thought it was rather vague. Is that something we can we delete something? Is it necessary, because you, up here, under C1, we've covered all different kinds of, other than if we add the drug thing. It just seems kind of generic.
I mean, I think that's what that's referencing, right? Right?
My reading of it, to remove any member of the commission for all these reasons, and then the commission shall have the power and authority to suspend without pay any member of the commission. Number 1 is referring to C 1 through 4. That's how I read it.
Oh, okay, so that may
Yeah.
just be a reword, just
It's
to make
just
it
saying
clear,
you
because
can-
I didn't get that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know if it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
if it's not clear,
Okay.
someone knows.
Yeah,
So yeah, I read that as like, okay, the commission can remove another commissioner and not, and withhold their pay if.
yes,
For those causes.
And I agree with all
stated
that.
Above, yeah.
but I did, yeah, okay,
But, okay, I'll mark
okay.
it as unclear.
Yep, so that's
Okay.
another one we can just talk about a little bit more.
That's on D.
D1,
Yeah.
just the wording on D1,
So
yep,
2.03D,
yep.
okay.
So we're still on 2.03, second page. Anybody see anything on that? There was a-
I had a comment that I'd written down, oh, this isn't the one, well, under E. Is it E? Yes.
Yes,
Any suspension or removal shall only occur after reasonable notice to the commission. Do we need to define reasonable notice?
That's actually a question that comes up a lot in like different,
It's in like
statutes
state
and-
laws, it's in
Yeah.
every, it's in a
It's
lot
a
of
very
stuff.
common, like,
Mhm.
it kind of leaves it up to, you know,
What's reasonable?
Well, I know
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
somewhere in
we
the
do
back
this
of
all
this.
the average reasonable person, what would they say is reasonable?
These days, who knows?
yeah,
That's funny you brought that up. I wouldn't recommend defining that and leaving that up to the commission on what reasonable
Okay.
notice would be.
Okay.
Except, yeah, Kristen came back, Glenn, you probably couldn't hear her, but she came back and said she would not recommend that we put a specific time in and would leave it up to the commission to make a decision as it comes up. Is that correct? Okay. Are you good with that, Glenn? Please ask questions. We know you're on the other end of a phone. Appreciate your input.
I want to be respectful to the people that have got a good handle on this.
Nah, all right. Okay, anybody else have anything else on that page?
I'll tell you what ChatGPT said.
Oh, all right.
It says, streamline vacancy suspension and removal, Article 2, shorten or reorganize the detailed procedure while preserving due process. Add explicit reference to Florida statutes for recall if not already present, and allow special elections more flexibility. Rationale, clarifies, and then current text is lengthy and partially cross-referenced. Modernizes by reducing administrative burden for you, Carla, while meeting constitutional due process standards. So sort of general terms, just make it a little shorter and more clear.
We would have to go through and have pick what we can legally remove.
Yeah, some of it
Sure.
we can, some we can't.
Sure.
Okay, we're all gonna get a copy. You'll be able to make copies of that for everybody
We can do
before
that,
we leave?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Yep, keep inserting that information. That's wonderful.
Okay,
Okay, on the next page, we have one item at the top, which is 2.03 still. Any comments on that? Okay, no comments at the table. How about 2.04, qualification of members?
Mr. Strauss had a question if we should define resident, for example, seasonal or partial year residents included in the 1 year period. I think that is a difficult one for us to touch, because I think there is actually like a legal consideration for what a resident is. This has to be your legal residence. If you don't live here for a couple months of the year, but this is still your legal residence, that's not up to us.
Okay.
I think it would be difficult for us to get into determining what is a seasonal resident and what is not. You have to be a registered voter here. This has to be your permanent address. I don't know that we want to go further
Okay.
than that.
That was my question.
So-
I'm going to add permanent resident. Is it okay to be a part-time resident?
I mean, I think if you're a part-time resident, as long as this is, your driver's license is here, your voter registration is here, this is, you are a tax-paying individual here. If if you're gone all summer, but this is where you primarily reside, that still meets our requirements. Because you have to be a registered voter here
Okay.
for a period of 1 year. So if you're not legally residing here, I don't think you would be able to do that, correct? So
It gets really difficult to get beyond that. I watched something where there was a guy that was actually elected for mayor and didn't show up for a single meeting for 10 months.
yeah,
But he was the mayor of the city. The rest of the city had to run, the rest of the people in the city had to run the city, including the commissioners, because the mayor never came to a single meeting. Now, I would
Is
think
that
you'd
in the
get-
charter somewhere about, if you don't attend meetings?
I
you-
don't think it is,
not.
and I almost think that it should be, that
I
you.
think so.
And I don't know how
I
to
will say
put that in there, but.
Gulfport just passed that in their latest charter review.
Did it?
That if you miss 3 or 4 consecutive meetings that are not excused, and or 4 meetings in a year, you are off the commission.
I mean, we could add that in the section prior that we were talking about with like
Yeah.
reasons for removal. We could add a note for that as well.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah, I
it's,
think that's
it's
good.
interesting because I don't think you ever have that problem here.
We
but-
really
but
don't.
That
I
doesn't
mean,
necessarily.
Even when we've had, in the past, I can think of one commissioner that had a relatively busy career, and so he would miss on occasion, and there were a couple of people that had an issue with that, but he maybe missed 3 meetings a year. But because everyone else is so regularly in attendance, that felt like a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it's all relative, I think.
Well, it is all
We can add it,
relative,
but it's not.
But we're
an
also
issue.
trying to protect the city.
Correct, it
Yeah,
could
that's-
happen, just because
yeah.
we haven't had that problem before, doesn't mean it
Right.
couldn't happen.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we
Okay.
can absolutely make a
Add
note.
that to reasons for removal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, yeah,
yeah, you got,
I
can
like the
we note that?
excuse
All right.
language too, so
Yeah.
it's not, someone falls sick and, something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, excused, I mean,
Yeah.
I get that, yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this guy that didn't
just
show up
doesn't
for
show
10
up,
months.
Look like-
we can make that note, yep, absolutely,
There was time.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Especially a mayor who doesn't show up.
Right.
Yeah, mayor's
Wow.
not said,
Yeah,
but
It was, the whole story was funny. He was the youngest one ever elected, and that never showed up.
That was 203 that had that, was the reasons for removal was 203C. So, okay, that was, I think, all he had in that one.
And that, which one were we just, that was,
2.04.
2.04, so we're done with that one.
So, yeah, the
Okay.
resident piece, does everyone feel comfortable with? where
Just
we're
leaving
going?
that the way it is.
I agree with you. I think it would be difficult to change it. I mean, if, it has to be your official residence.
You have to be a registered voter here for 1 year.
Right, right. But it doesn't say how long you have to stay every year.
No.
But I don't know how we could, I don't know that we
Absolutely.
legally even could say
Right,
that.
right.
If you own a home here, you pay your taxes here, you're registered, but
Right.
you are physically not here, I don't know that we
Yeah.
could do anything about that.
You would get, I think, you would get into some equal protection issues.
Yeah, I don't,
Right.
We're treating a certain class of residents different than another class of residents. I don't recommend that change.
yeah.
Okay.
However, if you're not here all year, you're gonna be kicked off the commission
Right.
anyway, because you've missed 3
True.
consecutive meetings.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost protects itself that way.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a good procedure to check
Yeah.
it, right? You check their license, check
Yeah.
their tax rolls, are they on voter
Yeah.
registration, do they own
Voter
property?
registration, absolutely.
Boom, then you're a resident.
Yep.
That's fine.
So,
Just out of curiosity, are they all city rules or state rules?
The residency rules?
Yeah, the residency.
Probably state rules.
there's
Probably, I
a
would
state
think.
rule that we follow.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So of what defines a resident, and for us, the easiest one is your voter registration status. So, because you don't have to own property necessarily, and you don't have to have a driver's license, you legally, I mean, you could say, I don't drive, I don't have a driver's license, you have to be a registered voter here for 1 year.
That's true, I
So,
didn't think about
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
there's not, that, to me, that is what we lean on
Okay,
fully,
all right, cool.
so.
Perfect. Thank
So-
you.
So does B then cover that, because it says the commission shall be the judge of the election and qualifications of its own
I
members?
mean, yeah, if there's ever an issue, we would bring it to the commission, for the
Yeah.
attorney to try to determine, but we've not, it's been, the worst we've had is people's time frame is very close. Where someone has run for office that said, I've been here for 13 months and it
Oh, that was
you know,
me.
like, that's the worst we've had, is not people necessarily arguing their residency status, but more
Yeah.
just trying to pinpoint when does that clock start. Is it qualifying? Is it the election? It's qualifying, by the way. But, we've had people say, well, by the time the election hits, I'll have been here for a year. Well, you can't qualify to run for office if you don't meet that. So it's,
So how do you handle people who rent?
Voter registration.
voter
And
registration.
they use that as their permanent address?
And then that's on them to take up with the supervisor of elections.
Okay.
So as long as they meet their requirements to show where they live, that's not on us. So.
So you don't have to own property in the city in order to.
Nope.
Okay, any other comment on that one?
Just real quick from my end, I think everyone covered it. My comments were registered voter, question mark, proper ID presented, full-time resident. But I think y'all covered that.
We did cover all that, and that is pretty much the minimum that's needed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome, thanks for asking. Okay, 2.05, duties and responsibilities of the mayor. Did anybody have any comments in there? I didn't have as many comments as I thought I did.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's kind of nice to go through and rule out, we
Yeah.
don't need to talk about this, we don't need to talk about this, and then you can focus on what you want to focus on.
I had no comments on 2.05.
Okay. Any? Glenn? 2.05.
No comments.
All right. Okay, moving on. 2.06, vice mayor. Anybody have any issues, comments, concerns?
Well, I highlighted that just for my own benefit because I didn't know that the vice mayor was appointed by the mayor. I mean, somebody-
Correct, yes. Ours is, yeah. The mayor's elected, the vice mayor, and then each of the commissioners is assigned a department by the mayor.
That was- this
'Cause
is
we don't
very
volunteer
informative
for 'em.
me to
Yeah.
know these things, because I did
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Study government.
Okay, so no comments on vice mayor?
Well, it's just one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you see like other duties as assigned by the mayor. I mean, is that something that the mayor should be able to delegate duties to the vice mayor? Is that
I think he does.
ever come up? I mean, I'm sure it happens, but
It
it's
tends-
not explicitly stated. I don't know.
No, it tends to be largely ceremonial, and then I guess signing authority in his absence, but the signing authority would be for things that are approved by the entire commission anyway, so it doesn't necessarily delegate individual decision-making power, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. All right, 2.07, commission meetings. Any comments on 2.07? Okay. It says here we only have to have one meeting a month? Sorry, I asked you at the wrong time.
At least once a month.
I know.
We have one regular.
That at
commission
least
meeting.
covers
Right,
you.
the night meetings.
I was a ISO auditor. For anybody who doesn't know what ISO is, it's quality in corporations. And basically, ISO says if you put it in writing, you have to do it. So this is the way that you do things. You say, I'm gonna do it once, but if you do it 3 times, that's better.
Right, and it's specific to regular meeting, which is our, we call them our night meetings, but they're not always during that.
Right.
Which if you notice, when the commission is going on to its summer hiatus, we still have our last meeting on the first business day of July,
Right?
and then they go on hiatus for about 6 weeks. So that meets that requirement. So you can say, oh, we're off the whole month of July. No, you come into me on the first business day of July, and we have a meeting, and then you can go, because we hit that.
Yeah.
So you meet every month. We can say
Okay.
you meet every month.
Okay.
So,
And is the notice, the 36-hour notice requirement, is that some kind of state municipal thing? 'Cause
that's another one that is reasonable notice. There isn't even a firm, I mean, there's all sorts of AGOs on what's appropriate notice for these meetings, but there's been disagreements on that even. I mean, we advertise well before 36 hours, but 36 would be a bare minimum.
And that's for a special meeting
Mm-hmm.
specifically, which is like, oh, we need to meet all of a sudden outside
ASAP,
of our
yeah.
regular meeting to
Mhm.
make a decision.
Yeah,
The policy
Okay.
needs at least 36 hours.
yeah.
notice.
Okay,
But you
got it.
follow 72, don't you?
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The majority of our meetings are on Tuesdays. Our packets and everything are posted at latest Friday.
Oh, I like that.
So.
That's good. We have a really good city clerk, I understand.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You're saying that because I bought you lunch.
Doesn't hurt. Okay. Any other comments on 2.07? Okay, 2.08, salaries of commissioners and mayor.
I've heard that come up a few
I
times.
was gonna say, the first comment is how many times there's been an
Yeah,
ordinance.
has there been
change.
changes in that over time, or is that kind of been
Well,
that way?
so
for-
my limited understanding, and these guys probably know a lot more about this than me, is the salary is determined only at this meeting. So it can only be changed once every 6 years. So as the economy goes up and down and all that, the salary is locked in. So the salary that we get now was established 7 years ago because of the hurricanes last year. We missed a year. It was established 7 years ago, and then it is only adjusted by the cost of living. Okay, and so whatever that is, 5%.
Let me,
Oh, go ahead.
I'll clarify.
Yeah.
So the salary is outlined in the charter. At the last charter review process in 2019, the committee wanted the commission to have more of an ability to maintain competitive members and watch CPI and whatnot and stay competitive and reasonable. And so in the last charter review process, they added the stipulation in there that the commission can, by resolution, adjust its salary by the same cost of living amount that is approved for general employees.
Oh.
So what you're
So
seeing
it's not
in
automatic.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not automatic, they have to decide to do it, but they can do it by resolution. And so what you see in there, when you see all the, it's been changed here, it's been changed here, that the commission has said, okay, well, adjust the commission salary in accordance with the COLA that was given to general employees. They can choose not to do that, they can give the COLA to general employees and not do it. So in there, those are what those resolutions are. But you all also, in this process, can adjust that, or recommend adjusting that salary if you
This
choose.
was last adjusted in October 10th of 23, according to the last resolution. Does that sound about right?
It should have been 25.
So it's October
Effective
10,
10/1/25.
I wonder if you have a dated copy. Here, let me give you a new one.
Oh, I must have an old, yeah,
I have
because mine
the
says
website
22.
copy.
Okay.
Let me go back and double check on that.
Yeah.
On the
But-
website.
Yeah, the
Here's
copy that Carly
current-
gave us says,
Okay.
It's possible that that website is.
Okay.
effective
the-
10/1/25.
It was done in 2025.
25.
Okay, but the,
25, okay, yeah, the website definitely says 23.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, I'll make sure you got it.
So,
Anybody
let's
else
go back
need-
to what you said earlier about, we have a lot of, times where we can't find people to fill slots. If we increase the salary, would that help us find more people to fill slots?
so let's table that question as we're gonna come back to all these that we wanna talk about in depth.
Okay.
That is a question that I have, if anybody looks at my paper, it's highlighted, okay? So I did send a note to Carly and asked her to do some research on it. So this would, 2.08 will be one that we will come back and discuss in more detail.
Which we've performed some research, I have responses from a decent amount of cities, we're gonna keep trying, cause some of them have just not responded to us, so we will keep trying. But regardless of how far you all get into actual discussion today, I'll make sure that you leave with a copy of this, so that you can look at it between now and the next meeting if you want to, but it may answer some of these questions of should we adjust the salary, to remain competitive. You may see some things and go, okay, that's gonna lead the discussion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, my normal business view of salary is, do comparative benchmarks
Yes.
in the job
That was my
description. So
comment.
what are
Yep.
mayors and commissioners making at similar size?
And I think Carly
municipalities?
is actively working on that.
Yeah,
Same
and then
thing.
generally, I like to pay a little bit above the norm because I feel like you get better people.
Well, the company I work for, yeah, they always paid 52% because they wanted to be
Yeah.
above the average of their in-kind employees, okay? So they're just slightly above the, what the national average was, but yeah, I agree
Alright.
with you, that's common. But I will also make a statement, again, we're gonna come back to this, when I took the job, I thought it was a volunteer job, being a commissioner. I did not know there
You're
was.
pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly
I did
surprised.
not know until Carly came to me and told me I had to fill out a W-2 that there was any pay associated with it.
Oh,
So-
good to know.
So some of us are just doing it.
Used to be volunteer.
Did it?
Did it?
It was an unpaid position? Okay.
Long time
Okay.
ago, yeah.
So we're definitely gonna come back to that one,
Yep,
okay?
okay.
And we are down to, what, about 25 minutes? Ken, you gotta leave?
Yeah, that'll be good.
You wanna leave here? Okay. So we're
Maybe 20.
on 3.01, which is election date.
I don't know if you all had questions, I'll speak on that from the clerk's office. There has been talk the last several years about trying to streamline elections, move elections from smaller cities to when it makes sense for the state or federal elections. Our position has been, and I think the position of a lot of smaller cities has been to leave that alone, because we feel that it allows for there to be a focus on local issues when people come to vote. The flip side to that is you potentially get a better voter turnout if you put it on the president.
National
You're gonna
elections,
get
yeah.
a better voter turnout. The issue though is that you'll get a better voter turnout of people that are there to vote for their president and have no idea what else is going on in their city. So you're getting their answers, but you're not getting necessarily educated voting answers.
I like
So this is a
your logic.
priority to you. We have said it's in March, we're gonna leave it in March, we're not moving it unless we have to. Because then the people that show up, whether it's 1,000 or whatever, they are there to vote for their city issues. That has been the city's stance. If you all want to just pursue voter turnout, that would be changing it to like November. So,
I'm sure Carly would agree that anytime they look at the ballots, the down ballot just doesn't get paid attention to.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she said. You go and you vote for your president or governor or whoever. You maybe get the first 5 things, and then you don't even look at a lot of time at any of the referendums or anything like that. You're done. And so, the two sides of that are, a lot of people will come, but
yeah.
a lot of people won't vote for the
They either
down
won't
ballot.
vote or they go, I'm just gonna bubble the top bubble of whatever's left.
Yeah, they won't
You go-
vote.
And then you go, oh my gosh, you're
No
just
one-
deciding everything for the city based on, alphabetical order or yes, no referendum questions, and that's just not how we have hoped for for change to happen through elections is based on that. So staff would recommend leaving that, but if you all would rather pursue.
I like
higher
it.
voter turnout, whatever,
Did
then
anybody have any comments on that?
No, I like it.
My question was answered earlier. I thought that we were being mandated.
It's kicked around.
Okay.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Because everybody keeps saying, leave us alone.
Okay,
So
good. So
It keeps
Back to
that
coming
little
up.
bit of
rule.
home rule has not
It
disappeared.
keeps
Yeah.
coming up, but we're just sort of trucking along as is until they make us change it. So,
All right, so no discussion on that one. All right, 3.02, nonpartisan elections.
What's the rationale? I mean, I see that everywhere, but what's the rationale for nonpartisan versus partisan?
I think it's the consideration that largely local issues don't tend to need to fall to partisan discussion, and so it seems to be better to have people that are just focused on the local issue rather than going on party lines, because it is so specific to our community issues.
That was an aha moment for me.
Yeah,
Because I
Oh, you didn't know that?
I
Yeah.
was not aware of it.
yeah. So, now candidates for office are able to clarify what their political party affiliation is. They just can't run as that candidate, and the offices are not considered party affiliated. So if you're running for office and anyone asks you, are you this or you that, you can say, I'm a registered this.
Well, they just get on, yeah, they can get
Or
online
they
and
can look
look
it up,
with the Board of
and that's
Elections.
fine.
Because as soon as you decide to run, everything's public. And I did a email campaign when I decided to run, and I had a person send me back a very, very harsh note and said, I will never, ever vote for a Republican. And it had a lot of, very rough words in it. So
All
I
right.
sent out 1,000 of those emails and I got one back. But, yeah, I like it the way it is,
I would
so.
suggest leaving it.
Nonpartisan, okay.
No other comments on that? Okay, 3.03, electors.
In our position, that one is what it is.
It is what it is? Okay.
That's what it is.
City position, all right. Any comments at the table? We're good? Okay. 3.04, election petitions. I had to do this. It's not hard. Becky probably signed one for me. It worked very well.
Go out to the pool on a nice day, you'll get plenty of people.
Yeah. So,
Only 10, huh?
well, you know what? When I ran, I had not been, as Carly brought up earlier, people that have only been living here 13 months, they're right on that border. I had only been a citizen for 14 months, okay? And I was able to get 10 very easily, and I probably could have gotten 20. I don't think I knew 30 or 40 people
Sure,
that I could have
sure.
gone out and gotten them from. So 10, it gets good
No
people in,
problem.
it gets them in quick. If anybody has an issue with that, we certainly can address it, but
I'm fine.
nothing there, okay? 3.05, form a ballot. Anybody pick anything up on that? Glenn, haven't heard anything from you. How you doing down there?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
All right. So nothing at the table for 3.05,
I
so,
do have a
oh,
comment here, and
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what I meant. I think it said a charter amendment to be voted on by the city shall be presented for voting by ballot title pursuant to law, and I'm not sure what that meant.
it's definitely a Kristen question.
It sounds like a
and you
legal.
Might need to read
legalese
it.
question. So it says 3.05 form of ballot. The commission by ordinance shall prescribe the form of the ballot, including the method for listing candidates for city commission elections and any other city election. A charter amendment to be voted on by the city shall be presented for voting by ballot title, I guess is what that is, pursuant to law. So,
What my understanding, there are a lot of laws and regulations for when we are doing referendums that specifically outlines how those questions have to be presented, like down to specific wording and format and languages and whatnot. So I think this is saying that when these things happen, we will follow the appropriate elections requirements for the ballots.
my comment was, do we need any action here? I just wondered if we needed some clarification on that. That
Real quick, I kind of second that, I had a comment on that too.
Okay.
Can you explain to me what I'm confused what the question is.
Yeah, what,
I think that Chat came up with a different word.
No, this is just me right out of the
Oh,
charter.
that's you?
I just read the.
I just read it out of the charter.
Oh,
Yes.
what type of clarification do you
Yeah.
need?
Well, if it didn't make sense to me, it probably doesn't make sense to, other people too. And I think I didn't understand, the first sentence was fine. The commission will do the ballot and decide the order of the people. Then you go about to the amendment and it says, to be voted on by the city. So a charter amendment to be voted on by the city is gonna be something on the ballot as well. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, are we talking about the commission or the city? So that was a little bit of a confusion there.
Oh, I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I read that, and Carly, you correct me if I'm wrong, is if we're going to go forward with a charter amendment, it's going to be presented to the city for voting, when they vote on it, by the title of the ballot. So when we read during the city commission meeting, do we want to go forward with this charter amendment? It'll be a motion to approve the charter amendments to go on the ballot by title. This is the title of that charter amendment.
Okay, so maybe just a little bit more there that explains that like you just did?
Okay, we can mark that for clarification.
Because when it said by ballot title, I thought, what does that mean? I don't know what ballot title is. But now that you say, yeah. Thank you.
That's good. Good catch.
so we're gonna circle back to,
Yeah, we'll
3.05.
circle back to it. Yep.
all right.
Okay.
Hey. Are you having surgery right now?
No.
You are really dedicated.
I'm a happy surgery guy. No, it's over and done with.
Oh, good. Good.
So 4.01.
How long do you have before you have to leave?
Oh, probably another 15.
Yeah.
So because I have comments on just about all of this, I was wondering if maybe we could postpone this particular section and maybe move on to some of the things that would go more quickly and get those out of the way.
No, right now we're just,
Let's just mark it off.
yeah, we're gonna mark it as we're gonna come back to it.
Okay.
Yes.
So mark
All of
the whole
Article
thing.
4.
We'll just
Okay.
do Article 4, we'll come back to it.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. So we're definitely coming back to 4.01. 4.02, head of departments.
Nope, we're just,
I think all
Oh.
of Article 4.
we'll just skip to 5.
Or did you jump to Article 5?
Oh, I see, that's what you're doing? So we're 5.01?
Transition schedule.
Continuation of former charter provisions. All right. Did anybody have any comments on 5.01?
How did we get there?
What we decided to do, Clint, is all that 4 section, there were multiple comments in that 4 section, so we know we're gonna come back and revisit that entire section.
Thank you.
Okay. 5.02.
So, I'm sorry, back
Whoop.
on 1, my only comment, when I first read it, and I know what FS 166.021 is because it explains it later on, but I didn't know if maybe a little explanation should be there or an encapsulated description of what that really means, so that when someone is reading this for the first time, they say, well, what is that? And they don't have to go look it up in the statutes. Yeah.
I didn't know.
My recommendation would be to kind of make them go look it up, so we don't have to try to summarize the state statute with other words. Or we could just put the entire language of it in there, but
How long is it?
let's look it up.
I'm confused. What are we talking about?
Um,
5.01, yep.
45.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
and what the state statute,
The third sentence,
refers to.
FS.
Does it have a title? Maybe we just put the title in there?
Well, the title is Powers.
Power. Well,
It's
then.
quite long. It's quite long. Just to give you a visual.
Oh, it's pages long.
It's very long.
Okay.
So I recommend, if someone's
Make 'em
reading the
look it
charter, they
up.
have a
That's what-
question about what that statute means, they could just go and read this rather than trying to summarize it and put it in the charter. That's my recommendation. You guys can keep
So
discussing it.
Larry, are you okay with that?
I'm
or would
fine.
You sure?
If,
Okay,
if everyone thinks that's appropriate, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
okay. Yep. I'm good. Want to get. Okay, 5.02. Glenn, anything on your end?
No, I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
Anyone at the table? All right. 5.03, rights of officers and employees. That's pretty high level, isn't it? No comments on that one? Okay. 5.04, effective date. Pretty straightforward. We just have a bunch more, don't we? 5.06, or I'm sorry, 6.01. Initiatives, I didn't have anything on that. Anybody have anything? Okay, 6.01, we're moving on. 6.02, referendum. Nothing at the table. Glenn, you okay?
I'm okay.
All right.
Thank you.
6.03. I think I had anything on that. That's a big one, isn't it? Carly, did we have anything from any of the other committee members?
Nope, not on those.
Okay, 6.03, going once. All right. No, not coming back to that one.
Under B though, were we just talking about A or B? Or about the whole thing?
Oh, I was talking about the whole thing.
Okay.
I didn't have any notes on it.
Okay.
If you have any notes and you want to come back to it, we will.
So this is just an information point. It says number of signatures, 10% of the total number of qualified voters. How many voters would that be, roughly?
Ooh. 1,800?
And do they have to be listed on the voter rolls, and if that does exist?
Yeah, 1,800. Sorry, I'm doing math in my head for a second.
Carly's thinking it through, Glenn. Give
I'm
us a
sorry,
second.
I'm trying to off the top of my head, I was not prepared for that question. I should know. I wanna say that there were just over 3,000. Just over 3,000?
Registered voters?
Registered voters in the city.
All right. You
I
said there's
believe, but I will
53.
get that
Yeah.
information if you'd like.
But it's the one who voted at the last election, it says. So is there a way to go back and count that? Like,
Well,
That's
so,
what she's trying to remember what the number.
well,
Oh,
we, for each election, we get roughly 1,200 voters. So that's why I was trying to take that and do math, cause I would like know
Right,
the
gotcha,
percentages that it was
okay.
based on, so we get, depending on how big of an issue it is.
So you're talking anywhere from, say, 120 to 100 to 200 signatures is all you would need for something like this?
Yes, if it's
Yes.
based on the voters from the prior, yes.
Okay. And the person doing this initiative would come to you for those numbers?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Has that ever happened?
No.
Just out of curiosity? Okay. I mean, it certainly can. It happens in a
Yeah,
lot of
it
cities,
could,
but,
yep.
yeah. Okay. So any other thoughts on 6.03, the entire section?
Yes.
It's a couple pages long.
Procedure for filings, item C. If a petition or amended petition is certified sufficient, and this is about 2/3 of the way down,
Okay.
and the petitioner's committee does not elect to amend or request commission review under subsection C2 of this section within the time required, the city clerk shall promptly present the certificate to the commission, da-da-da. And so my comment was, I said, need a clear explanation, possibly simplify the language. Because if you read the whole thing, it's like, okay, first of all, it says if it's sufficient, and then if it's not, and then immediately says, but if it's not sufficient, what if it's sufficient from the get-go? What happens? I couldn't glean, and maybe I read it too fast,
No, that's okay,
but I read it a couple of times, and so I couldn't glean, if the certificate of clerk amendment, let's say, within 30 days comes to you, and it's considered sufficient, then do you just
We
skip
just
all the
nailed
rest of this?
Yeah.
Skip
we
all
just
the
skip
rest
the rest of it.
And go right to, so that part wasn't clear to me, that, so maybe if we could just maybe do a separate paragraph or split the paragraph or,
Two different sentences would
yeah.
make better
Yeah, the
sense,
whole,
yeah.
the whole thing gets a little cloudy.
Okay.
So that was my comment on that,
Okay, so we'll come back to that one.
right. And
You-
then.
You've got that in your notes? All right.
Okay, and then under number 2, commission review, let's see, what did I do? Commission shall review the certificate at its next meeting following the filing of such a request and approve or disapprove it. And the commission's determination shall then be a final determination as to the sufficiency of the petition. And then I said, when does this require commission vote only, and when is referendum required for approval? I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me now that I read it, but apparently it wasn't clear to me exactly how the vote took place and then what would happen once the commission approved or didn't approve it.
Do you wanna just mark that as review and we'll take a
Yeah,
look at it?
I'd say we come back to
yeah.
that. That was paragraph 2, right?
Yeah.
C2?
C2,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
follow
absolutely.
C.
So if the commission says no, it dies, it doesn't go to referendum? I guess was my question.
I believe it has to have like grounds for insufficiency,
Okay,
but let's look into that and we'll bring that one back up.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Okay?
Okay. Okay, anything else on that page? So we got some comments on C1, C2. D or E, any comments on that page?
Yes.
No, that's okay. So are you on the next page?
I'm on item 2 under E.
Okay, item 2 under E.
Submission to voters, and I said, is this still in effect or changed by state law to comply with presidential elections? I guess that was that same comment that I had before. Okay, so we can do this anytime we feel is appropriate? Okay, it'd be a special election, okay, thank you.
Okay. Paragraph 3 or F, results of election. Any comments?
Just
Oh,
when it
go ahead, Larry.
when does it become effective? If it's passed and the referendum is passed, is
It's
there,
established by the referendum itself.
okay. So it could change depending on the referendum?
All right, trying to keep a mindful eye for Kent here, so we only got him for another couple minutes.
Article 7.
And we are almost done going through it. We're obviously gonna have a second meeting. So, 7.01. I know I have comments on that.
Do we need to make it 7 because you have a hard time getting 9?
Well,
That's part of the.
That's part of the
information
discussion,
that I'm
so-
gonna give you.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come back to discuss that
we
then.
absolutely wanna discuss that. I just wanna, if anybody else has got any other comments on that. But yes, that is that's what I had on there. I even had a lower number than that, but we'll come back to it.
Okay.
I don't know what's legal, but
We're talking about the number of charter review
the
committee
members,
members.
yeah, 7.01,
Not
the
we're not
number of,
talking the years.
yeah.
Okay, I'm with you now, okay.
Yeah, the years is another one. I didn't think
That's
about
another
that.
one I'll be asking for feedback on.
You'll ask for feedback? Thank you. All right. 7.02, duties and responsibilities of the committee. Any comments on that one? Okay, we don't have to circle back to that one. 7.03.
My question on that was, since we only have 7, would we still need 5 affirmative votes? Because that's a supermajority, right?
And then, as Kristen's doing that, my question is, we have Glenn online as the world has changed, okay? Or
Remote, Zoom,
Yes,
or whatever, yeah.
do we put that kind of wording in there or no? I don't know what the legal is, so.
As much as it makes things convenient, I would be cautious about doing that.
That's fine.
Because the consideration of quorums is such a larger issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna try to do something different.
Okay, all right,
And yes to the 5, because technically we still have 9 seats.
Yes.
On this committee.
2 are-
2 are vacant, but a quorum is still 5, so.
Okay.
We need 5 people.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So, were we gonna come back, 7.03, was there anything to come back to? Is that the one we were talking about? I just lost track.
If we end up changing 7.01, we can amend as follows, because maybe we can change them to 5 if the quorum, but
Yeah.
that would be
Okay.
only if we change 701.
Okay. And I got just a minute or two, 7.04. Did anyone have any comments or anything on that?
I think you answered my question. We are just a recommending body.
That is correct. Yes.
Do you think there's anything more that can be done to get more interest, get more volunteers?
Hold on for 1 second.
I know I saw the advertisement a lot,
Yes.
like in different places, but
I know Ken's got to get out of here, so we need to end the meeting for Ken to leave? Or
I
can,
mean, if he leaves, it ends.
okay, okay, because we do sunshine law, we have to keep doing this.
Right.
I don't know what else we do. I mean, Carly did an incredible job getting the information out, so.
I think that can be something that if we could talk about that when we get to 7.01, when we're actually
Okay.
discussing the membership, that would be good.
So my last question is, you're gonna send out minutes with all the sections that we're gonna talk about, so we can reread and look at those, and you're gonna send out some supporting information to us, or how does that?
Yeah, so what I'll probably do is email you sooner than when I'm gonna send out the minutes, because the minutes you'll probably get closer to when the meeting is
That's
gonna
fine.
be happening, just
Okay.
because we have to do them
Yeah.
in the interim. But probably within the next few days, you'll get a follow-up email from me going, these are the sections that the committee decided warranted specific discussion.
Okay.
So please go back and review these and come to the next meeting prepared for
Okay.
these subjects.
All right,
Would you like me to provide you with the information I have so that you can include that in the emails, since I know we can't
That'll be
email
good.
one another?
Yes.
Okay.
can we adjourn so Ken can leave?
Yes, I have hard copies of the research that I can give out, or I can just email it to you.
I'll take a copy.
That's
I'll
best.
take a copy.
I like
Okay,
that.
I'll tell you what, I'll give them out, and then I'm gonna email them also,
Okay.
so, just blind copy, you just can't respond. Well, you can respond to me, but you can't discuss it amongst
Amongst
yourselves.
each other,
So
right?
if you wanna take it, great, if not.
Sure, okay?
Yeah, if you have questions about what we're gonna discuss at the next meeting, which is May 4th, email Carly and I.
You can continue sending, even if there's a section that you all decided you were good with, one, you can always go back, actually, I have a question on this, but.
Thanks, guys. All right, thanks,
Okay,
Ken.
then we need to adjourn.
Adjourn? Okay, we're adjourning the meeting, which means we have to stop this discussion, right?
Yep.
Meeting adjourned.
That next one is